So, police today raided the home of businessman Jimmy Wanjigi in Muthaiga hours after recovering guns and bullets from his Malindi house. Our reporter Sophia Wanuna covered the news as it developed and now joins us live for more details. Sophia, good evening. Good to see you. You have been able to speak to the officer in charge who's in charge of this whole operation. And we also understand that there are some leaders who also made their way to Jimmy Wanjigi's home. What have you managed to unravel?
Good evening, Linda. We are at Jimmy Wanjigi's Muthaiga palatial home, where officers from the flying squad as well as crime prevention unit have been here since midday. And this is following reports that they had been able to find 5 AK-47s alongside ammunition in a house in Malindi, a house that is linked to Jimmy Wanjigi. And that led, and according to the officer in charge of the flying squad, that's Saidi Mohammed, saying that this information and this raid at the Malindi house was following a multi-agency team that had been working together, and that they have intelligence that Jimmy Wanjigi would be able to provide more light on this. So just behind me, you'll see some of the vehicles from these teams, the flying squad as well as serious crimes. Note that those number plates are concealed. And of course, behind the house is where is his house. However, the leaders who came here earlier, James Sorengo, alongside Johnston Mudama and Jeanette Mohammed, came and they said they'd met family members who were here. That is Jimmy Wanjigi's father, brother, sister, as well as the rest of the family, and maintained that Jimmy Wanjigi himself was not here. So let's listen to some of what Jeanette Mohammed and James Sorengo had to say earlier.
Squad, which makes us wonder why the flying squad would be sent here. But more importantly, we were unable to talk to Mr. Wanjigi, although we were able to talk to his father, who is inside the building. We were able to talk to his wife, but we were not able to talk to him. We are not even sure he is in the house. But having gone into the house, talked to his wife and talked to his father, who is very much concerned, and to talk to other family members, including his brother, we wanted to get an understanding, a clear understanding from the police, why they are here and why they should come here with such force. We are told that it was in respect of a house in Malindi where they conducted a raid and some guns were found. Unfortunately for the police, they will not be able to tell us whether or not they are sure that the premises belong to Mr. Wanjigi, or the premises are registered in the name of Mr. Wanjigi, because I think before you conduct a raid like this one, you must get your facts right. And they were unable to confirm to us on what basis they would be conducting a raid in Malindi and making an assumption that those premises belong to Mr. Wanjigi. Secondly, we were told that this raid may have been planned because it was supposed to happen on a Friday. The members of the media, some of the members of the media were alerted, and it never took place. And eventually, of course, it took place, but in circumstances where I think these are trumped-up charges or proposed trumped-up charges, because nobody in his right mind would be keeping guns in an open store in a house there in Malindi. And I think the most appropriate thing for the police to have done is to determine who the owner of the house is, and before they conduct an inspection or carry out a search, obtained a proper warrant, serve it on the owner of the premises, and also make sure that an inventory is taken during the process of that search. And if it was done in those circumstances, the person concerned would even sign the inventory. Unfortunately, this search was done by the police on their own. And I must say, in those kind of circumstances, there's a reasonable presumption to make that whatever they found could have been planted. And my suspicion is that they were planted.
The association of Mr. Jimmy Wanjigi with the NASA is not secret. And that is his freedom of association allowed by the Constitution. And I strongly believe that he's being tormented because of his association with NASA, the perceived association with NASA. And we know very well he was a good friend of the Jubilee leadership. But when he switched and decided to think otherwise, it looks like certain quarters are not happy with him.
All right, so Jimmy Wanjigi, a man who is wanted tonight, and we also got to hear from the officer in charge of the flying squad, that's Saidi Mohammed. He's the one leading the about a dozen team that is camped out here to Wanjigi's residence in Muthaiga. And regarding whether they had an arrest warrant against him, this is what he had to say.
So far, we've sent officers inside here. From the flying squad and the special crime prevention unit. Unfortunately, the individual has locked himself inside the house. We are not able to access him or talk to him. So until he peaceably comes out, so that we can talk to. We are very interested in talking to him, for him to give his account of what was found in the coast region, for us to continue with the investigations. Yeah.
So the questions that would follow are, first, the house perhaps in Malindi that you said these weapons were found, you know it to be his house?
We believe to be associated with him. So it's up to him, to disprove that it's not my house. Then we can continue with another line of investigation. If it is his, what are the circumstances? So far I cannot tell you anything more than that until we interview him, we talk to him, and then the investigations will continue from there.
Final question, perhaps someone would want an interview. Do you have an arrest warrant, sir? Because an interview perhaps would have written to him to invite him to come, but to be staged at his house with quite a number of officers. We've seen the politicians who spoke earlier reading other motives in this. So what else? Do you have an arrest warrant?
For those who know some bit of law, there are offences called cognizable offences, which you can arrest, an officer can arrest at any time without a warrant. And this offence, I think, or the inquiry or the directions of the investigations that are taking, we are looking at a cognizable offence, which an officer anywhere can arrest without a warrant, or can seek for somebody to be interviewed without a warrant. Thank you very much.
So you're going to continue to stay here
throughout the night? For as long as it takes.
Throughout the night?
As long as it takes.
You're sure he's there, because we were told he's not there?
We don't know. But that's part of the job.
Okay.
Thank you.
Saidi Mohammed, the officer in charge of the flying squad, speaking to us just about an hour ago. So they're here to stay, and Linda will be here to cover. Back to you.
Sophia, you clearly have a very long night ahead of you. Saidi Mohammed, they are saying they will stay for as long as it takes, and it's not even clear whether or not the businessman is indeed in that particular home. Sophia Wanuna reporting from Muthaiga. Sophia, thank you so much.